There are many people in life, I think, who feel at some moments that they've stopped being a person. And that is the most scary place for any human being to go. To feel that you've lost any sense of self, identity, that you'll not come back. To say that that is inevitable in someone with dementia, that that's where dementia will take them, is an admission of complete failure of humanity. What Great Dementia Care is about is saying, this isn't rocket science to create, because I believe every human being knows what it is to be human. They know when they're walking in somewhere, does it feel right? Does it sound right? But I think what happens in life is we get told to be professional, we get told to have distance or to be detached, but this constrains us and limits us as human beings in the care sector.
Just because you're living with a dementia in a different reality doesn't mean you haven't got feelings, doesn't mean you don't need to do things or feel important. I think we're all the same, we've all got feelings, and that's what matters most. Feelings matter most.
And I believe that's the essence of Great Dementia Care, that a person with dementia does not have behaviours, they have feelings.
They feel so strongly. We believe in the traffic lights, so there's a red, amber and green. Red means we have a feeling. Amber, it means that we think. And then green is act. Now when we're living with dementia, the amber light is either flickering or it's completely broken, which means that we have a feeling and we act.
Because they've moved from being a thinking being to a more heightened feeling being, then the imperative on us to reach someone on a feeling level to the last breath is even greater.
I know all too well what David is talking about. I know it from personal experience. In the mid-1960s, I lost my grandfather. 4 years later, he died. Poppy had taught me to love baseball, to ride a bicycle, and to value learning. But when he was diagnosed with dementia, he became lost to himself and to me. Nobody helped me learn how to talk to him, how to reach him, how to feel as though I was communicating in any way that was respectable, and how not to be afraid of him. Poppy was given a TV for entertainment. My grandmother visited for hours every day. My mother visited almost every other day. Much later, I realized that nobody had explained much to me because the care team at the home was lost too. They didn't know what to do except to feed him, bathe him, give him medications, keep him calm. My experience wasn't unusual at that time, and unfortunately it continues to be the case in far too many places today. I've spent the last 17 years trying to make up for what I didn't do with my grandfather. I've visited what I was told were the best care homes in 10 countries. I photographed, I talked with people, I watched, I read voraciously, I wrote books, I exhibited my photos, I lectured. I tried to help other people understand what good care was and how we could find it for those people that we loved, either by bringing the principles into our homes or bringing the people into the places where it was practiced. My most powerful inspiration, however, came in the summer of 2017 when I visited Landermeads in Nottingham, England. I was on an assignment to photograph a music session, but what I saw all around me in that very brief time was so exciting that I decided I was going to return. Landermeads is a wonderful example of the butterfly model that David Sheard has created and brought into reality in several countries. And I'm delighted to have gone back with Corinne to make this film that I hope will help you share the excitement that I have, that the butterfly model is a wonderful one and one that we should adopt as widely as possible.
A butterfly home for me is a place where you walk in and within 5 minutes you feel, I'd be okay here, I would thrive here, I wouldn't die inside, I wouldn't be stuck in boredom and lethargy and staring into space. I would have someone here who really, really knew me on the inside, someone who knew in the end the low moments, how to get me out of those, someone who'll make me feel I've been reached.
You're okay now, you're with friends.
The way you create that feeling in a butterfly home is that you stop it being about people with dementia.
Who else would like a glass of wine? Would you like a glass of wine, Eve? Go on, it's Sunday. I'll get you that.
We only made the change for the household butterfly model 4 years ago. Before then, we were a very task-oriented traditional nursing home.
I remember one of the senior nurses here you weren't allowed to sit and spend time with people. There were more important things to do, like going to tidy a wardrobe or clean a commode.
We'd have to have breakfast done by 9 o'clock so the trolley could go back up, to have a tea trolley at 11. It's all very routine, and it's lunchtime at 12:30, so 11:45 we'll start taking people to the toilet. And I have worked where we have people queuing outside the toilets in the wheelchairs, and it's just undignified looking back on it now.
And it was only when we sat down one day as a team about 4 years ago, and so the people we're looking after are actually very, very unhappy. They may be very well looked after, but they're very, very unhappy, especially those that live with dementia, because they wanted to get out. They feel imprisoned, they feel they're in an institution, and that's coming across in their everyday sort of lives and their expression of how they are. The difference is incredible, and it's not even subtle, it is completely transformed. Once we implemented the butterfly model, people smile, people form friendships with each other, people look after each other. There's an awful lot of dancing and laughing and joking and joint occupation. There isn't a feeling of us and them anymore. There is very much staff work and live alongside the people that we support as one big family.
Now you have all the time that you need to be with people. Things are still done, but they're done in a different pace, at the pace of the family members that live here. We used to use the word resident, but it's because we are a family, we call them our family members. Every member of staff that comes to work here is involved in supporting our family members. We've got our care team, we've got housekeepers, we've got laundry, we've got maintenance people, but they all have to be willing to support somebody. So I wouldn't expect a maintenance man that's here to come in and fix a radiator. If he's walking past somebody and they need that bit of time, he will walk with them.
We're going to mark up these, and are you all right to cut them for me? Are you ready? If you squeeze these handles together, that's it, fold it. Perfect. Well done, Dennis.
Well, I've never really worked in any other place except from this place, and I can't really think of caring in any other way apart from how I've learnt here, which is by caring for the family members in a way that suits them more than suits us.
Nobody's all the same. We're individuals, aren't we? But we're all humans. You're still a person. You still need love, don't you? You still want to be treated the same. You don't want to be left and nobody cares anymore. We don't do that, and I certainly don't do that.
It's taking away drugs trolleys and anything that's institutionalised in any way.
One of the biggest things that we did as well, like, there's no staff breaks anymore, and you couldn't run this sort of culture around staff breaks. Now it is just as and when staff can sort of make the time, but nobody seems to worry about it at all.
We don't have separate staff toilets, we don't have separate staff mugs or staff rooms or anything. Anything we do, we would do with the family members here as well. And the principle that as a family, we don't have separate things at all. We share what's there.
I don't feel like I'm coming to work. I don't think, oh, I've got work tomorrow. I love the people I support and I love the team that I work with, and I think, you know, it's hard to find somewhere that you want to be.
It just feels so welcoming and so comforting. It's like a second home. It really is.
We surround ourselves with the people that really matter, and they may come from many walks of life and many moments in our life. And I think that's the sort of family we're trying to create in a Butterfly Home.
They are my grandparents in my eyes. I really love being able to share every moment with them. When I got married, I came in my wedding dress.
That's Oliver now. He's grown up quite a bit from when you last gave him a cuddle.
You little beauty.
So I don't really have two separate lives. Work and my personal life are one.
You've got a lovely husband.
I get a lot of staff, especially the young staff, that for some reason want to be here all the time, and I think it gives them a purpose too. So it's not always about the older person living with the dementia. The staff get a lot out of being here. It's a two-way. I think they feel needed and loved as well.
I've learned and changed a lot since being here, and we help each other. We all make a smile, laugh, eat dinner together. We are a family. It makes me happy, and sometimes when I'm walking home, I know that I've done right today.
The reason you're trying to get staff to connect on this level of spirit and vulnerability is because you can't teach person-centred care. You can't put on dementia awareness videos and do dementia exercises as if somehow that will bridge the them and us.
Each member of staff goes through compulsory annual training around emotional connections and their own emotional vulnerability. So we actually spend time in small groups going through what's important in our lives, what shaped us as people, our good times and our bad times, and sharing how that's felt at different times with other staff.
We just had to share about what happened in our lives and everything. But I shared a bit about how I got bullied at school.
Because I can find with some people, they sort of put on a facade at work and that they can be completely different outside of work. Whereas this butterfly training allowed us to open up to one another and realise what's going on behind closed doors, and it will sort of help us see if someone comes in one day and they're a bit down and need a bit of support, then we know why and we can be there to support them.
We then ask people how they feel about doing the training, and they get really nervous, and each year they're all really very nervous, and a lot of people tell us they're anxious, they feel a little sad, a little stressed, they're worried about sharing their personal feelings, and then we say, well, that's just how people feel like when they come to live with us here as well. They're anxious and stressed.
Because they haven't got the voice, or at least not the verbal voice, always to tell you exactly how they're feeling, and therefore their vulnerability is on show all the time.
It's really hard to support somebody if you don't know what it feels like to really need somebody or to be in a place where you've struggled in life.
Being vulnerable really does help break down any barriers that we have with anybody. It really helps us feel more, it helps us care more, it helps us understand more by exposing and stripping down those layers and those barriers that we have built up to try and protect ourselves.
So it's okay to show that you have emotions too.
People who work in traditional care don't really understand how to interact with people on a level where they're emotionally attached to them. I think people here get very emotionally attached, and that's something that brings out the best in people who live here.
You can't create that in staff to be that with others unless they know how to be with it themselves. So the absolute essence is to create in staff that sense of we're only a flicker or a feather away from being vulnerable. And it only takes a phone call in that day of our lives, or a message or a text, and we could go to that vulnerability in a second. And it's not that you pour that out to people living here, but you sense it and you feel it, and you think about the moment you didn't have comfort. You think about the moment you weren't having a sense of belonging, the moment where you didn't know whether you'd come back in life. And if you can create that in staff because they know they've been there and they can hold on that on the inside of them, then it's impossible to walk by somebody slumped in a chair. It's impossible to see someone staring into space for over 30 minutes. It's impossible to stand watching people eat instead of sharing a meal, because you would know those times in your life when you thought, is anyone going to be there? Are they going to step over that divide into my world? And that's the feeling I want to create in people working here. This is controversial because in a care sector that's largely driven by business and driven by models that have been taken from the healthcare system of hospitals in terms of clinical efficiency or in terms of what 4-star hotel care looks like. But yet we know in our own lives that the greatest thing that helps us survive, that gives us a sense of well-being, is being loved. And I think that's a huge threat to a professional sector, to say that's what transforms lives. That's what creates staff who want to be this. That's what reduces staff sickness, creates staff retention. That's what stops people falling in a care home. That's what stops infection rates. People can't get their head around it. And yet the care sector seems so scared to embrace that as the very core and then build business on that.
Do love you, you know.
And I love you too.
We're a traditional nursing home that delivered task-led support, which was very beneficial physically to people who live here. They were looked after well, they were fed and watered well. As a company, we were doing well. We just thought that we could change our approach slightly to make sure that the people who live here were emotionally looked after in a better way. I think and it's shown now through the training, through the years of perseverance, through the approach, it is shown massively in terms of the people who live here. One of my main jobs as the finance director is to ensure that what we do is financially viable so that we can continue to provide our outstanding level of care. Two of the biggest indicators of our success are occupancy and staff retention. But since we have undertook the butterfly model of care, our occupancy levels are above 99.9% and we have consistent, committed staff.
My wife Pat, she came here in February of 2017. In the previous homes she wasn't 100% happy, you know, sort of thing. That was a problem. When she came here, an amazing change, you know, she's calmer, she's back to where she was, you know, sort of at the beginning of the dementia stage, I suppose, yeah. Well, I visit every day, and it's nice to know when I leave that she's in safe hands, you know, sort of, and I can relax that way, you know, which is nice.
Over and over, wherever I go, people say, you're trying to create a home, David, but our homes don't look like this. You've created this quasi-charity shop versus toy shop, nursery versus clutter. What is all that? And my reply is that you don't get it. Because I'm not creating homes for us. I'm creating homes for people whose world is shrinking in and in and in. In the later stage of dementia care, it'll be a 3-foot circumference around people. And if that world is empty, sterile, clinical, painted cream and brown and magnolia, then the message you're giving people with dementia is, you're a nothing. You're nobody now. Whereas the message I'm giving is, you've had a rich life. So we've brought the world to you, and we brought the stuff of memories and feelings and jobs and domesticity and babies, and we brought it all close, and you're going to feel inside that you're alive like you've always been.
When we first decorated, we had bright green, bright yellow, bright pink, and some staff were absolutely horrified. But then it fitted in with what we were doing, and obviously there's a reason behind it.
You go to hospital or another care home and it's lovely and there's all chairs around, but there's nothing there because it looks like it's a mess. And I always explain to people, excuse the mess, but we live here. A lot of it belongs to our family, so it's their stuff. So we use it to engage with people, to lift the moment.
We make sure that our family live their day as as if they aren't in a nursing home. If they want to go to the shop, they can go to the shop. Yesterday I went out with Ruby and we just went to the shop to pick up some gloves, some bits and bobs that we wanted to buy, make it as normal day living as we could.
If I ever need to nip out for something, the ladies come with me. If I go shopping, they come shopping with me.
I bet you like that one. That's a pretty one.
Occupation doesn't necessarily have to be going to the park. It can be cooking, it can be making a bed. It's just having a chat with somebody and connecting with somebody is occupying somebody. But it depends on the individual and how they prefer to be occupied, because if it doesn't mean anything, there's no point.
It's not accidental that it's called occupation, because the whole point is we don't have an activities coordinator, because activities aren't something we bolt on at certain times in the day. Occupation is because people need to feel self-worth, they need to feel involved and included in what we do, and the best way to do that is to occupy them in everyday things that are going on, as we would if we were at home.
We make the things that seem like routine into more of an activity. For example, we'll ask them to help us make the bed, or you know, they'll fold the towels or get their own flannel. It's just about, you know, keeping them involved in what we do.
That one is mine.
If you like them.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What number? I never know the number, do I?
Yeah, number 6.
Number 6?
Number 6.
Thank you.
Alan will actually sweep the leaves up outside at this time of year, so he'll actually go out with his brush and he'll actually sweep the leaves up and tidy up outside. And on a more day-to-day level, in our mini kitchens in the houses, there's always washing up to be done. There's always putting the pots away, making sandwiches at tea time. There's invariably somebody actually helping us do that.
I think meal times are one of the most important times of the day, because it's where everybody connects.
Would you like some gravy?
Yeah.
Whichever family member wants to get up, whoever I assist up first, I'll make sure I have breakfast with them, and so they know. Sometimes I find myself having 5 breakfasts with them just because I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to them, having a chat.
You talk about being a butterfly. A butterfly isn't somebody that's all jolly and dancing around. It does help with the real quiet butterflies as well, and I think there's a quiet member of staff that doesn't want to sing and dance but is happy to sit and hold somebody's hand and be more sensitive to those needs and have quiet time. So butterflies do come in all shapes and sizes.
It's about what the individual wants to do. So I can't say that the day's the same every day, because it depends on who you're supporting and what they want to do within the day.
In one of our sessions recently around sort of emotionally led support with staff, they spent some time looking at Alan and what would be useful for him. It would be good to re-establish an Alan routine, not a general routine, but an Alan routine which replicated the sort of life that he had when he was a farmer. So staff have decided that they would like to get up with Alan at dawn, actually go outside, feed the chickens as part of what they do with him, to enable him to feel that he's still got a worth, he's still got something that he's familiar with that gives him in that sense of comfort. It's around making sure people feel they are part of a valuable family and they have a role in that.
I've left your horse out there.
I really would just like to stress how much that nursing homes can give to family members, or residents as what people do call them. You know, it doesn't have to just be people sat in a room, sitting there bored day in, day out. You can really make it meaningful again. It's their house, they come into a nursing home, and that's what we fully embrace here, and that's what emotional led support is all about.
Once you've worked in this environment and seen it working, you just couldn't go back to the old culture, the old systems.
I think it's the way forward, it's paramount to how people are here are looked after, and I think it's something that needs to be rolled out elsewhere as well.
I just know I'm meant to be here. I just liked it here. I just got attached, and I'm glad I did.
We absolutely live and breathe what we do, we believe in it. The evidence that we have from the people that we look after, it's a joy to see how well people can live who have a dementia.
We need to change our glasses,
I don't feel lost anymore about what I hope will be the future of dementia care. The Butterfly model offers what I now see as the best approach to dealing with the global problem of dementia. Loving care isn't just something that's available from biological family members. I and many others have learned from Tom Kitwood, from Laurie LeBay, from Richard Taylor, and from many others, and so wonderfully from David Sheard in Dementia Care Matters, that there's so much more that can be done to make family-like relationships between people who are not biological family. I hope this has inspired you. I hope that it's helped you to see what wonderful success we can have. As individuals seeking a placement for a loved one, or as a business leader looking for a model that you can use to create hundreds of homes that meet standards and do more.
Forget a care home, forget job titles. We'll do all the stuff behind that needs to be done on the policies and the procedures and the systems and the regulatory stuff. We'll sort all that. That's the secondary stuff. The primary thing is we are family.
If you can make their lives happy, you know, and have a good time, it doesn't need to be a bad ending where you're sitting in a corner and you're sad and you're lonely and nobody's talking to you. It should be about having fun and having a good time, right until the end.
To have that feeling inside that they're surrounded and wrapped and enveloped with the things that really, really matter in the moments. And that they just feel, this is as good as it gets. This is me being loved.
God bless you all.
God bless you, Gwen. Take care.